bridges in English language teaching with authentic learning. Here in my page, I have my title, Building Bridges in English Language Teaching with Authentic Learning. My profile has been read already. And then I have my objectives. Can you see my objectives? Can you see the objectives now?
Yes, ma'am. Right there, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So today we are going to look at 8 objectives. We are going to extray the complexities of the English language classroom. We live in an age where the English language teacher is encumbered with a lot of things, and yet we want students to be successful. Then we're going to explicate authentic learning. Then we are going to justify authentic learning as a bridge builder, And we're going to analyze the how of authentic learning. And we'll examine the linguistic strategies, tools, and activities of building authentic learning in English language classroom. And at the end, we'll conclude, and then we have our reflection time. Now, I want to engage you. I want to ask, what are some of the observable challenges you normally encounter in your English language classrooms? So I want you to unmute yourself and please speak. What are some of the observable challenges or complexities you've encountered in your language classrooms? Please speak. You can unmute yourself and talk.
I can hear you, ma.
I said, what are some of the observable challenges you've been encountering in your classrooms? Kindly unmute yourself and speak. You are free. If you know you don't want to talk, you can use the chat box. Does it mean that we don't have challenges?
Please, the question again, ma.
I said, what are some of the challenges you've been encountering in your English language classrooms? What challenges do you encounter?
Okay,
or you don't encounter any challenges?
Yes, ma. There are some challenges. For instance, one of the major ones I've observed is mother tongue interference.
Yes, mother tongue interference. Thank you, Ayomiku, for talking.
Multilingual complexity.
Multilingual complexities. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, what other problem? Yes, thank you. Please speak. McClary Wood.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead. Unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, ma'am. Societal, the community, when you ask them, there was a time I was having a program with my students. So I told them to always speak English language. That whatever language you speak, it is called vernacular. But the moment you beat them or you find them for speaking that language, for them speaking their mother tongue, they will go home and report to their parents, and they will come and bombard you with insulting words.
So sorry about that.
Hello, ma, you with me, ma?
Yes, I'm with you. I can hear you. I sympathize with you.
So that's one issue. Another one, ma, when you try to correct them, maybe they have a grammatical fallacy or they have grammatical problems. So once you try to correct them, the moment you correct them, their attitude towards you will be different. When they see you, they run away from you.
Oh, wow. So sorry about that. But that's Nigeria for you.
Yes,
yes. What other problems do you encounter in your English language classroom?
Hello, Prof.
Please go ahead. Yes, thank you.
All right. There is one dominant problem with public schools, specifically overcrowded classroom. Overcrowded classroom.
Overcrowded classroom. Thank you very much. Yes, so it's a major problem.
Yes, in most cases, when you are trying to just attend to a particular student, a particular pupil to ensure that that pupil gets what you are trying to say, you discover that you are worn out along the line. You cannot even attend to the whole class at the same time. And you kept on wondering, how am I going to survive on this job? So that's one of the major problems I've observed over the years now, and it's worrisome.
Thank you. It is actually a problem. Yes, it's a problem. Large classrooms, overcrowded classrooms. Thank you very much. And so it leads to exclusion. It leads to exclusion. Sometimes the students are not included in the teaching and learning processes. Thank you very much. Yes, what other problems? Well, if there are no other problems, can we move on?
Inability to use tenses correctly, ma. Inability to use tenses correctly.
Yes.
Mixing up tenses. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Grammatical
Past tense,
issues.
present tense. Wait, ma'am. Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much. Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes.
Yes,
So we have language issues within the classroom. Thank you very much. Yes. So let's look at my own challenges that teachers oftentimes double with in their classroom. One, language proficiency levels and cultural expectations. Yes. Somebody said the other time that even when a child is corrected, you find that the parents would almost want to eat that. Can you see my screen?
No, ma'am, that's what I'm going to tell you. You can't see your
Oh,
screen.
sorry. Can you see it now? So some of the problems we have mentioned are truly some of the issues we are actually encountering in our schools. So you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I've listed
Yes,
some
ma'am.
here that teachers face difficulties managing varied language proficiency levels and cultural expectations. That we also have diverse learners in our classroom with diverse needs and diverse styles of learning. You will agree with me that you encounter some of these problems. And we also see the need for transformative, inclusive pedagogies that will actually empower all learners. But the issue of a large classroom will almost swallow up this. Then we also have learners' labels. Learners' labels are part of our problems, part of the challenges and the complexities. Labels like these are underachievers. These are average learners. These are high achievers. Then we have resources, unavailability, non-availability, underutility, non-utility. Then we also have digital divide and distractions. I don't know whether in your country where you are, you have issues with learners bringing digital devices to school. And sometimes they are distracted because it turns out to be things that they will eventually play with. They like viewing, they want to visualize and engage in a lot of things like this. So it's important we look for solutions to some of these problems. I particularly was thinking of what to do. I had an interactive session with some teachers, and then what I eventually came up with today is what I actually shared with some of those teachers. Not necessarily in a workshop, but as a result of these problems put together. And so I felt that these problems have created bridges between the teacher and the learners, between the society and the learners, between the school and the learners. And so there is a need for us to bridge these gaps, to bridge these complexities, these challenges, so that learners would eventually become what they ought to be, and the essence of going to school can be achieved. So today, I have what we call authentic learning, the bridge builder. The bridge builder. Authentic learning simply refers to a learner-centered strategy that is completely involving learners. It is for the learners. The teacher only acts as a facilitator. The teacher acts as a facilitator. So it's a language teaching strategy that uses authentic tools, authentic strategies, materials, assessment procedures. It involves more of immersing the learners in learning experiences that they become the owners of such learning experiences. It is creative, it is critical, and involves real-time learning situations and opportunities. If you look at my picture there, the little pics I have there, you can see how the learners are able to bridge the gaps together. Can close up the gap if we can do something about using authentic learning situation. So Why does it matter? Why it matters? What's your take on that? Yes, I want to hear you. What's your take on it? Why do you feel authentic learning matters? I've just explained to you what authentic learning means.
We are with you, man.
Yes, I said, why do you feel authentic learning matters in English language classroom? Why do you feel it could be
It
a
matters.
Yes, please.
It
Go ahead.
matters in English learning classroom because it's going to help the students to be student center, to have a student center learning experience, and they will be more involving, and this will help them even to develop their thinking skills and ability.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. What else? Okay. Let's quickly look at some other reasons why authentic learning.
We can see your
Yes,
slide.
please. You can see my slide?
Yes.
Why authentic learning is important. One, we see that our classrooms are bereft of real-time activities. Real-time language learning activities. Why? Because sometimes you find out that the learners themselves do not have the learning materials. So the teachers find it very difficult to teach effectively without these learning materials. And with that, real-time activities do not take place. Rote memorization isn't the best practice, but we find out that this is what is obtainable in most of our schools. Once the child is able to memorize, and now is a name of any person, place, or thing, and we do some other things. Knowledge is accessible everywhere. We all know that we live in a knowledge economy now where we find knowledge virtually everywhere. Once you can click or pick your handsets, chat GPT, Gemini, and Perplexities, and all the AI tool will just produce knowledge to every one of us, including our learners. So learners prefer the easiest pathway. We know that. That's why you find examination malpractice is on the hike. Life is authentic. Do you agree with me? Hello, are we there?
Yes, we are with you. We agree, man.
Yes, life is authentic. If you are living a fake life, you yourself, you will not enjoy yourself because you wouldn't be real. So life is authentic. So why not make learning authentic?
Exactly.
Life is not fake. We do not plagiarize our being, but sometimes we plagiarize knowledge. So authentic learning is necessary because life is authentic. The business and the corporate words are all authentic. We need to understand how those type of words they operate. What role do language play in the business world and in corporate worlds? So if they are real, if they are authentic, so we should bring such words into our classrooms. That's what authentic learning is all about, and that's why we need it. We need to bring the word, the real word, into our classroom. We need to make our classroom the real world. Whatever is obtainable in the real world. Do we practice debate in the real world, in the political sense? When we have some arguments, bring it to the classroom. Do we have interviews in the world? Do you get a job on the platter of no interviews? No, we do interviews in the business world, in the corporate world. So let's bring them to the classroom. Do we play some roles in the world? Let's bring all those authentic situations to the classroom. Thus, we need language, authentic learning situations. So how do we now practice authentic learning? The how. We have some linguistic strategies. We have some linguistic tools for practicing authentic learning. Research has established the place of real-time conversations, real-time situations, and real-time experiences in learning. These linguistic strategies and tools could be effective and authentic learning. They could be authentic learning tools. Number one is aesthetic conversations. Aesthetic conversations. Number two is efferent conversations. And number 3 is dramatic activities. Dramatic activities. These are the 3 basic linguistic strategies and tools that we want to look at today. We'll flex them up, we'll look at them holistically, and at the end of today's webinar, you will be able to go back home and start practicing authentic learning in your language classrooms. So let's take the first linguistic strategy there, aesthetic conversations. What is it all about? Have you heard of aesthetic conversations before? Please, Carla, I want you to unmute yourself and talk. We make our webinars at this international level very engaging, because that is exactly how life is. One does not talk to himself or herself. So I can't be talking just like that. We should interact. We should make it conversational. So aesthetic conversation. Have we heard of it before? Do you have an idea of what aesthetic conversation is all about? Yeah. Sorry, somebody called into my line and then distorted my conversation.
Okay, no problem.
So I said, aesthetic conversations are those type of conversation or talks that involves telling stories in order to deepen students' comprehension and understanding of stories read in language and literature classes. For instance, they practice what we call grand conversations. And in these conversations, students share ideas, they ask questions, they respond to their classmates' comments, they interact with one another. The whole learning experience there revolves around their conversation, around the content material they are given to in the class. It also involves storytelling and readers' theater. We are going to see some of them as tools or activities that will assist us to understand aesthetic conversation. Efferent conversations, here we have the type of conversations that we use to inform and persuade one another or our learners. Efferent talks can be through show and tell, oral reports, interviews, team circles, literature circles, and debates. Then we also have dramatic activities. This is a very powerful tool of communication and language learning that could be real, that is authentic. It involves authentic learning. Like we have said before, real-time learning. When you engage learners in dramatic activities, it assists them to learn. And one of the tools we can use there is role-playing, team circles, and their puppet plays. Now, aesthetic conversations. Let's look at aesthetic conversations holistically. Now, these conversations could be for different purposes. Some of the benefits is that the learners are in control. The teachers put them in various groups or pairs, and then they are able to interact, gives them the learning material and allow them to engage in conversations. They control their classmates' behavior. The learners are in charge. The teacher is just there as a facilitator. And it enables the learners to maintain social relationships. They maintain social relationships. They're able to consider one another, just like the world. When they get out of the school environment, what is obtainable outside there is what they do. They convey information. They could explain to their colleague and say, this is it, this is what this passage is talking about, or this is what we are supposed to do in a writing class. They share their own personal experiences and opinions. Aesthetic conversation helps promote thinking, because if a learner is trying to present her personal opinion, he or she must think appropriately, because he knows that the partner or members of that group will ask, why are you presenting these as your point? So it allows the learners to learn, and then it refines their social and their soft skills. We all know how important social skills and soft skills are today in our world. They are utilized maximally at the workplace. You cannot separate the workplace from these social and soft skills. So we bring these things into the classroom, and the learners start developing these skills even from their youthful age. Now, I emphasize that one of the tools of a static conversation is grand conversation. Grand conversation. Now, what then is grand conversations? Grand conversation is that type of conversation that enables the learners as they engage, either in groups or the whole class. The teacher gives them the learning task and then allows them to converse. The entire goal of grand conversation is that it deepens comprehension. And since comprehension is the hallmark of virtually all linguistic activities that we engage in our classroom, so grand conversation is something we could recommend to us, that if we use it authentically in our classroom, it will really help our learners. What are some of the features and benefits of grand conversation among learners? One, learners take responsibility for their learning as they voice out their opinions and support their views with authentic materials. Authentic materials. For instance, if they are to write a letter, the authentic materials are already provided in the class. The teacher presents newspapers, different types of articles, magazines, and then they see the examples of how these letters are written. So it is not just a one-size-fits-for-all type of textbook that is presented, just one example, and then the learners are put in a straitjacket. No, they have enough materials presented to them. So they take charge and then they express their opinions. They express their worries, their interests, their personal connections to the text and other text or materials. It encourages the classmates to contribute to the conversations. So if you find out that those who will not talk in class, in authentic class, when you use grand conversations, those learners must talk, because this is between them and their classmates. And they know how to navigate their ways into the hearts of their classmates, so they will be able to engage them appropriately. Sorry, I have a picture here to buttress it, but it seems to be hanging the other way. So it encourages classmates to contribute to the conversations. The teacher is only acting as a facilitator. There are two types. We have the whole class or small groups grand conversations. Conversations have two parts. You can have the open-ended, where the learners they are free to converse, and while the other one is guided. The other type is the one that is guided by the teacher. We are not saying that the teacher will be completely absent from the classrooms. No, the teacher will be there. Like the example we can see there, you see the teacher providing an example to the learner there. So it is not basically this type of conversations or authentic learning. It's not only for lower classes. It's not for the basic school. Neither is it only for the secondary school. Even at the university level, we should bring authentic learning to our classrooms using a static conversation via grand conversations. Now, grand conversations cannot just take place like that. Before the learners will begin to converse, we must provide some rules. Some of the rules are here. One person speaks at a time. Just today, I was talking to some of my PhD students. I said, I find it very funny that even among lecturers, you see a lecturer not even knowing how to take turns. That it's such a funny experience that somebody will be talking, another person will be talking, and people will be talking like that. I said, it seems they missed out something about politeness and turn taking. So if we can bring some of these things to our learners so that they don't go into the corporate world not knowing when to take turn in conversations. So one person speaks at a time, a learner speaks at a time, everyone is actively listening to the speaker. So when one is speaking, the other person is listening. So one way or the other, we are developing the speaking and listening skills of the interlocutors. Everyone has a chance to speak. So there's no dominance. There's nobody who's going to dominate. Everybody must talk. All opinions are respected. All opinions are respected. So there is nothing like, oh, no, you did not get it right. No, that's appreciated. So we have remarks that really encourage one another. We sit in a way that we can see everyone, just like the picture you can see there. Are you with me? Are we still there? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we are. We can listen to you. We can see
Yes,
the
ma'am. We are
your
here, ma'am.
destination.
Thank you. So, The learners sit in a way that they can see everyone, just like the picture here. Now you find out that this will really change the type of sitting arrangement in our schools. Sometimes one is worried that a child comes to school for a whole term. That child sits in a particular position with a particular learner from the beginning of a term to the end of a term. That's not good enough for our learners. The teacher should be able to utilize this grand type of conversation to move one learner from one seat to the other, so that a learner could interact or can interact with at least almost all members of the class before the end of the term. So we bring our thoughts back to the literature or to the language material that is given to us. We use text evidence to support whatever position or opinion we are taking. So the opinions we are presenting are text-based. Any other opinion that are supportive will also be taken in such conversations, but they are not going to primarily overshadow what is in the text, because the text is the basis for the conversation. And so we can use the text evidence. We don't raise our hands in such conversations. We don't raise our hands, because if we do, we raise our hand, you raise your hand, before we know, we could use our fist or one another if somebody is trying to overshadow. So before the teacher engages learners like this, the teacher must have told them some of these rules, must have taught them the rules of turn taking, politeness, respectfulness, and then ability to accommodate one another. It's revolving around the inclusive classroom. That is, everyone is included. So that's that about grand conversation. I've talked about storytelling. It's also part of aesthetic conversation. It's one of the tools you can use. Storytelling is as ancient as human. It's a learning tool that should be incorporated into the language classroom, the literary classroom at all times. We all know what storytelling is all about. Crafting, sharing narratives to engage and inform our audience through words, through action, and multimedia. We have different types of storytelling. We have the oral storytelling, the written, the visual, the digital, the audio, the performative, and the cinematic storytelling. All these could be incorporated in the aesthetic conversation. It's authentic, because once you are able to tell your learner stories, you will see the way they will become attentive. Then we could also tell the stories to these learners. How do we do that? Number one, we could use what we call NOB, news on board. News on board. News on board is a very authentic way of learning. The learners learning from one another. On a daily basis, a teacher can decide that as the student come into the class, for the first 5 minutes, we could use it as a warm-up activity. And then we engage the learners and ask them, who is going to tell us a story about what happened today as we were coming to school. You see, the children will, even when they don't know how to express themselves and they don't know what to say, especially in the nursery or the basic section, so the children will put up their hands, I. And when you honor them, you ask them to express themselves. Once they know that you will honor them, you will respect their opinion, you respect their mistakes, and then you are able to accommodate whatever linguistic mistake they make or error they make, and then you correct them mildly, not with a cane, because it's an inclusive environment. The learners will be willing to use language authentically in the class, and so they will learn in such authentic situation. News on board. So the learners will talk, will express. As I was coming to the school this morning, some even start from when they woke up. I woke up this morning around 6 a.m. I had my prayers. I did this. I did some home chores. And as they're expressing themselves, do you know some of them cannot even spell some of those words they are using? But because they own it expressively, you can write some of those words they are using on the board. When you write it on the board, you can rehearse it with them, and then throughout the day, we celebrate that story for that particular learner. The following day, another learner tells a story. With that, the learners will be learning. Apart from that, if they are able to even document some of those stories in a particular exercise book, these stories will form authentic materials, authentic reading materials for your learners. So the issue of some of our teachers saying there are no textbooks, we don't have materials to read, to engage learners in reading, we don't have materials to teach learners how to write, how to listen, how to speak. We'll have some of these materials with us. And it will be funny when you read your own stories after some years, and then you laugh, and then you also learn. Now, journaling. So I want to ask, let me pause here and ask, what do we mean by journaling? Yes, I want you to talk to me. Hello, are we still there?
Yes, we are with you, ma.
Please, what's journaling?
Please, ma, maybe you can repeat the question. I cannot hear you very well, ma.
Okay, journaling, journal, then ing.
Should I, ma'am?
Yes, journal.
I think the journaling is a brain dump on paper or digital screen. We are going to be practice to regularly recording and the thoughts. That's it.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, that's it. Journaling is also one of the effective tools that we can use to bring authenticity to our classrooms. Authenticity to our classroom. Journaling. What I have here is a personal practice of recording your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences to boost self-reflection, reduce your stress, and foster personal growth. It involves regularly documenting your daily life, your daily ideas, your goals in a notebook or digital app, like your handset. You know, we all have this Android handset that has what we call notes. Do you have that in your phone? Hello?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes. On a daily basis, you could document some of the things that happen to you. I grew up seeing my father always having a diary. In the evening, after his daily activities, he will bring up his diary and he will write some things. But oftentimes, some of those diaries are about offenses. On this day, Mr. Williams spoke rashly to me. May God pay him back for dishonoring me in the presence of the Olawales, you know, and that's how they will document some of those offenses of people. And they document it like that and put it there for their children to see. So that's not the type we are talking about. It's not a documentation of offenses. It allows one to improve your mental clarity, your emotional processes, and it gives room for creative expressions. So journaling is something that we should encourage our learners to do. So we could ask them to bring 20 leaves notebook. I don't know what is obtainable in your own country. Just a notebook or a notebook. And then on a daily basis, you allow the learners to document, to record their personal experiences. What teachers do in this type of documentation, we do not actually mark. You don't mark and say 3/10, 20/10. We don't use the marking gradients of content, organization, mechanical accuracy, expressions. No. If there are poor expressions, we could note them and just help the learners to say, okay, you could have expressed this like this. But we give encouraging comments. Oh, this is excellent. You can do better next time. Oh, this is quite encouraging. Oh, this is excellent. Oh, this is wonderful. Amazing. And so the learners keep writing, and then he's developing his writing capacity. So instead of waiting for a writing class where the learners will write compositions, either argumentative, or descriptive according to what is written on the text on a daily basis. Learners should be able to write. And then, so when it comes to rewriting experiences within the classroom, we find that it will enable the learners to engage in real flexibility because they've been engaging in it. So it helps them a lot. And so the learner, just like storytelling that I talked about the other time, later on, the learners will find that they have materials to read. And they could exchange that note maybe on a weekly basis. This person will read the other person's journal, and the other person will read, and they will garner some kind of experiences from one another and learn. In fact, it also helps them to develop their vocabulary, their expressions, and then their ability to think, because it's something they do on a daily basis, so they find it so easy to do whenever they are called upon to do it. I have an example of a journal here. I don't know that you can see it. This one is called daily journal. We have personal journal. We have body journal. We have logs and different types. There are about 10 of them. Look at the example here. We can give to our learners. April 25, 2024. Today was a wonderful day. I went for a long walk in the park in the morning. The weather was warm and sunny, and the park was serene. In the afternoon, I played football with some friends. We had a lot of fun and even won the game. I'm feeling grateful for such a great day. So short, but full of life and authentic experiences. So when the learner documents experiences like this, you find out that it helps them to develop their spelling. They're able to spell, because whatever the learner wants to spell, if he's not able to provide it, the teacher could provide the support, because the teacher acts as it provides scaffolding to the learners. Then we also have readers theater. Yes. Do you have anybody who wants to talk to us about readers theater? What you know about readers theater? Okay, let's move on for want of time. Readers theater is an authentic tool that boosts reading abilities of learners. And I told you that the hallmark of any reading activity is comprehension. So it's a reading activity which involves reading a script aloud in a small group. So we're trying to develop the reading ability of the learner. A script is the written text for a play or a film or a textbook, where the characters take turns to speak. They take turns to speak. You do not need to perform actions, use prompts, wear costumes. So the teacher is not intimidated with all those theatrical gimmicks where they use props, use costume. No. Or they memorize any lines for a reader's theater. The goal is that you bring the script alive, as if you are speaking to the text, using clear and expressive voice, some facial expressions, and some simple gestures. There is no need for formally rehearsing a reader's theater script. No, just hand it over to the learner, and the learner is able to. However, you may wish to read your part quietly to yourself before the group reading begins. Yes, this is just a summary of reader's theater. It's very effective for authentic reading opportunities of our learners. We could use it. You can call any learner and just give the learner, take, read, and then the learner engages in that reading activity. One of the opportunities to use reader's theater is during drop everything and read, or drop everything and read opportunity. When you ask all learners to drop everything and read, you can bring this in to support your learners. It's very, very authentic. Now, summarily, we have talked about the aesthetic conversations. And some of the things we are talking about is that we can use grand conversations, storytelling, reader's theater, journaling. So now I want to go to inference conversations. Can anyone remember what inference conversations involves? Hello, are you there? I've explained inference conversations the other time. Do you have anyone who wants to explain inference conversations? We said it's one of the basic conversations We have 3 of them. We said aesthetic, inferent, and dramatic activities. Now we are on the second part of it. Yes, yes, yes. Do you have anybody? No, nobody. Okay. So we said inferent conversations are basically meant to inform and then to persuade. So one of the tools we could use is instructional conversation. This is a key inferent activity for the promotion of vocabulary. You see that when I was explaining a static conversation, you see that it gives opportunity for the development of their speaking ability, writing ability, listening. Now we are talking about instructional conversation, that this one will deal with vocabulary development, especially scientific informational text. It focuses on content areas, can bring in other content areas and allow the learners to engage in conversation. Teacher provides information and encourages learners to do the discussion. Another thing we could do to make our learning authentic is questioning. We must bring in questioning strategies to our classrooms. It is not an encouraging situation to get to your classroom and everywhere is silent. Anytime you want to teach, students are made to stand up, hold your mouth, stay firm, especially in Nigeria, or you ask them to keep quiet, everyone be silent. No, we don't. It's not a good classroom situation. Allow the learners to use language expressively as they discuss and talk in the class. So it's not all the time we accuse our learners of noise making. So Bloom's taxonomy or critical thinking is a very good one for us when we want to develop the questioning strategies of our learners. Now, if you look at the Bloom's taxonomy, you see the knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Oftentimes, you find teachers concentrating on the first 2 and sometimes the number 3. The fourth and the 5th and the 6th are almost not utilized in our schools or in our classrooms. So we are saying that we should move beyond just that. We should engage learners in questioning activities that will help them to learn better. And some of the questions are how the questions should be generated, or the type of questions to be utilized are presented here for us. So after this period, after the webinar, you could look at this material and learn more from them. See the different types of questions that will involve critical thinking. Critical thinking is a missing phenomenon or a missing skill in language learning and, in fact, education at this time. We find that our learners do not want to think again. They just want to get knowledge at the snap of the finger from ChatGPT, from all the AI tools, and then they present it to us, especially at the university level. But if we give them questions that will make them think, I think we'll boost their questioning ability, reasoning ability, and move them to a higher order thinking skills. So questioning strategies. Do we just ask learners to engage in questioning like that? No, we ask them carefully planned questions that would really help them to be organized, to direct, and then they direct the lesson. We ask clearly phrased questions rather than vaguely written questions. The questions should be sequenced from factual to. So we ask questions to follow up on student responses. Are we there? Hello?
Hi.
Hello, ma.
We are here. We can
We can hear you, ma'am.
Use is show and tell. Show and tell. Show and tell is a very vital, efferent conversation activity for students. What are we showing? What are we telling? If you can ask your learners to just take up a particular book and then show us, then tell us what is in that book. For instance, Ben Carson's book, Think Big, some of his other book series like that. You can ask them to go and read. The learners come to the class, they show you the book, and then they tell you what is in the book. Oral reports. In the real world, we write reports. The written reports, we also do oral reports. For example, our PhD students, master students, and even undergraduates There are faculties and departments where students will have to present their long essays as reports. So we could use that. It brings authenticity to the classroom. Instead of learners just memorizing the facts and writing it on papers for us, and then we bother our lives reading what is not important. So we could change our strategies too and allow learners to engage in oral reports. Interviews, allow learners to engage in interviews. They practice it in class. It's very, very important. We are bringing the authentic word to our classroom. Interviewing is an exciting language activity. It helps learners to refine their questioning skills and use oral and written language for authentic purposes. The selection process of the interviewers and interviewees must be done. It involves brainstorming a list of questions. Then it also involves writing. The learners will write. Now we have talked about reading, speaking, listening, vocabulary development, grammatical development. Now it is writing. Allow them to write. Practical steps on how to use interview. We choose questions. We conduct the interview. Place the children in the appropriate, the learners in the appropriate groups. Then we ask them to share their results. Debates. Oftentimes, we find that debate is a one-time activity for a whole term in some schools. Debate is something that learners should utilize on a daily basis or once at least in a week in our language classroom. This is the last inference talk project for boosting authenticity in language teaching. Debate provides a forum for thinking about important societal issues. Yes, look at the global issues now happening, the war between Iran, America, Israel. We can bring it and allow the learners to talk about them in our classrooms, either at the primary or secondary school level and even the university. When we engage learners in such, it allows them to know and learn the ability to persuade, to convince, and to project their viewpoints. We use information and emotional appeals in informational and emotional appeals in articulating their viewpoints. Practical steps. Identify a topic, prepare for the debate, conduct the debate, conclude the debate. So we also have dramatic activities. This one is so good. If you look at this picture now, you can see a learner acting as a doctor, the other one acting as a nurse, taking care of a baby. It's so funny. We see this one, say we are open. We are open to what? Open to hiring. So there are dramatic activities. We can also use role play. This one is very, very important. Role play. When we use role play, what do we do? What do we gain? We gain interpersonal skills, communication skills development. We learn how to resolve conflicts, and then we develop insights. Some learners lack insights. They don't even know where they are going. They don't know where they're coming from. But when they engage in role play, they know some of these basic things in real life situations that will really help them in the future. They will also have group decision making when you engage in role play. So that's just what I have for us today. Thank you for listening. So in this class, we are going to talk about authentic learning as immersing learners in engaging activities that is connected to real life situations. And we have looked at some of the strategies. I looked at 3 basic strategies: aesthetic conversation, inference conversation, and dramatic activities. I also pointed your attention to some of the activities and tools that you can use under each of these strategies. And then some of the tools we can also use, either for the aesthetic, the efferent, and the dramatic. Thank you very much for listening. God bless you. Yes, do we have questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Your session is fabulous as usual.
Thank you, ma'am.
If anyone have any question, you can unmute your microphone and ask.
Hello, I can hear you.
Well done.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you for the.
Hello, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I just want a clarification on one thing. Because based on Nigerian setting now, let's be sincere with ourselves. With everything you've been saying so far, these are learner-centered strategies to ensure that you engage them while teaching. But looking at the curriculum, how cumbersome it can be at times for a particular term, you discover that you may not even be able to meet up with all these things if you try to adopt all these things you have been mentioning so far. Now, I want to ask, is there a way that we can narrow this thing down so that it's not necessary we cover a very broad curriculum per term? If you are focusing on a specific term or a specific thing for a particular term, just to ensure that at least we have achieved, because at the end of the day, we discover based on our own personal experience, we kept on running these things. And what the government actually wanted to pick out of this is not being achieved at the end of the day. You now discover that as a teacher, you are trying your best, but that best is not showing more as you desire in your pupils. So most time you feel like, am I actually called to this job? Is it that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do? And you know very well that you are doing what you are supposed to do. What can we do, Prof? Because looking at it, our situation in Nigeria particularly, most of the goals and the aims at times, they are unrealistic. Let me put it that way. And it's become so worrisome for teachers at the point of teaching. What can we do?
Okay, thank you very much. Pastor, can I respond to it?
Sure, ma'am, please, it's your day.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you,
I have
Mr.
a question too, please.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, I want to say I'm very privileged to be part of this, to be in this presentation, and you actually focus so much on interactive activities that the teacher can adopt in the classroom in teaching any aspect of language. But the one thing that worries me when we talk about interactive activities, as such as you have the wonderful things you have presented, is basically like the last person said, the Nigerian situation. In our classes, we encounter students, classes with a large number of students, large overcrowded classroom. Sometimes you find it that it's even difficult for the teacher to, to navigate within the classroom, to deal with maybe personalized instruction and all that. And it is a situation also that makes it difficult for the teacher to engage learners in small groups activities. How can one present this kind of, how can one adopt and use this kind of activities effectively? And also bearing in mind that we deal with students within sometimes 35 minutes or 40 minutes. How can we deal with this? Because when I teach my students who are pre-service teachers, they always ask, how do we incorporate this kind of activities within the large classroom situation? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, I can see 2 hands raised up.
For questions too.
Yes, please go ahead and ask.
Well done. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I really benefited from it. Thank you. God bless you. Actually, my question comes to the aspect of storytelling. I really want to know more. Though I know storytelling talks about you trying to tell a story, maybe to change a learner's moral or to make them become a better version of themselves. But as a teacher in a class who wants to go beyond just telling story in the classroom, are there any resources that we can actually go for that can help us to become better at storytelling? Maybe by saying a story that people could even see online. And as regards some of the things that some people said before I spoke, I really appreciate you. Actually, I'm a teacher. I work at Teach for Nigeria as a fellow. To be sincere, I just want to share some things. The time frame is really a constraint.
Okay.
And because where I was working, when I got there, I found that most of the learners cannot even express themselves in the simplest English language.
Okay.
They can't say sentences correctly. So this was what I did personally. Though I had time challenge because for each subject we have 40 or 35 minutes. So this is what I did to help them. I used to stay back after the closing time.
Thank you.
We call town, teaching at the right level. So we brought the class. So we stay about 30 minutes or 1 hour. But to be sincere, a teacher that has worked since morning till afternoon, where will she have the time to feel like or to dedicate in staying back in school? So I don't know how we can actually put that in our classroom, maybe during the school time. But if it is, I don't think it's actually, except maybe there is opportunity for that, because I work at a government school, and in fact, every day we are always busy in class, aside Fridays,
Okay,
then
thank you
maybe
very
after
much.
school.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, can I accommodate any other question? Please, thank you.
Okay, my voice in appreciation for the policy and the
I
wonderful
can hear
presentation
you.
of the I want to join other people that are taking the defense and the other. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I don't want to say that somebody has broken my mind, but I want to add that I want to present all these abilities you have used. It will accommodate us very time in the classroom. And I'm still reminding you, we have a possibilities. I'm not saying that not before.
Okay, I didn't get you very well, but all the same, I think it's also part of the problem we have just talked about.
I'm sorry that we couldn't hear you properly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Question?
Yes, you're
Yes,
back, ma'am.
Okay. The issue of large classrooms have been with us for years. So what we are to do as teachers is that we can't use all these authentic learning strategies once. If you take one and you say, okay, this 10, I'm going to utilize aesthetic conversations. I will engage my learners in grand conversations. I'll use storytelling, or I'll use journaling. You just take one or two, utilize that one perfectly for that 10, and then watch out for how beneficial this strategy or the tool or the activity you engage learners in. If you do that, you will find that the effects will be visible. But if you say you want to use all of these authentic strategies in just a term or in a class, it won't be possible considering your workloads. But in large classrooms where we find out that you cannot reach out to all learners, I think the best way to go about it is to engage these learners in pair or group activities. It is very, very important. As teachers, don't always feel that you are the only person who can disseminate knowledge. See yourself as a facilitator. One, you can use some of the best learners, pair them with the average or the underachievers. Like we have said that we have labels in our classroom. We have lacunas in our classrooms, which we can fill with these strategies. So group learning, pair learning are things, are linguistic tools that you cannot play with if you really want to live long as a teacher. Oral reports, you must ask your learners to engage in such. It is not only for tertiary institutions that you ask learners to come and do presentations, oral presentations. No, give them some of these things, and then you will see how some of these learners would utilize some of these strategies effectively, and you will be baffled. Now, let me tell you something about what Professor Chukwuemeka Onukogu told us some years ago in one of our workshops. He told us that during his days as a learner in the primary school, that he was not interested in going to school. All he was interested is that his parents were actually the one forcing him to go to school. So he would just go there leisurely. But that at home, his sister or so would always sing to him. So he knew a lot of songs that he could sing a lot. So how many of us use singing in our classrooms? So one day he said he was in a classroom. The teacher said, "Who will solve this sum for us? S-U-M. Who will solve this sum for us?" he said suddenly, because he sits at the back and the class is large, the teacher never calls him, but because he has his own cliques of noisemakers at the back, so he sits there. He said that was how he put up his hands, and the teacher honored him. And so he came to the front of the class and he started singing. He sang a lot. He sang to his own satisfaction. Now, after singing, he discovered that the teacher was applauding him, the learners were applauding him, and then when he was satisfied, he went and sat down. The teacher just looked at him and then was wondering, what is the relationship between song and song? But that was what the learner heard. Instead of hearing song, the learner heard song. Or he heard, instead of hearing song, the learner heard song. So what the teacher did was to report the learner to the headmaster. And so the headmaster invited him the following morning and said, come and sing on the assembly ground. And then he was so baffled, but he was excited. And so that was one of the things that made him continued in schooling, in his schooling ability and schooling activity. And he later became a professor. What we are saying is that some of these activities, they may not necessarily be the thing you use for all lessons, but take one at a time and then utilize them. With time, you get used to them, and then it will assist your learners. Thank you very much. We must not be intimidated with the problems we have in our schools. These problems will always be there, but we are products of some of these large classes, but some teachers sacrifice their time to give us the best. So let's keep helping our learners. They would achieve the best. Thank you very much. For the storytelling, I think I've done something. It needs dedication. You have to be dedicated for you to be able to use some of these things. With dedication, you can utilize storytelling activities to help your learners. Thank you very much.
Now I request everyone to turn on your webcam.
Hello, ma'am.
Screenshots. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, Prof. Please,
I
want. Yes, good evening, Prof. Please, I need clarification, ma'am. Is there any difference between grant conversation and collaborative strategies?
Yes, a slight one. Collaborative strategy was just that you are collaborating with somebody. But grant conversation will give you some of the grand rules. You saw some of the rules. Politeness, you're not raising your hands. In some collaborative activities, the learners will just be talking at will. But in grant conversation, you have rules. Rules that must guide the conversations. So the conversations are not just the type that you just talk anyhow. No. So there are differences.
Yes, Prof. Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay. If there is no other question, can we all turn on our webcam and take some screenshots and create memories?
Akinitire, turn on your video. Makiri, turn your video. Yanu, Oluwa, turn on your video. That's what she's asking us to do. Turn on your video.
My video is on, ma.
We can't see you.
My video is on. My video is on. I'm in a vehicle. That's why you cannot see my face very well, ma.
Okay. Fasla, are you okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ready? Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And we learned so much from you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.